Hi, welcome to Karolyn with a K's kitchen. Today I'm making an old Ukrainian recipe from Elizabeth, my mother-in-law. In Italy, these cookies are called biscotti. We refer to them as mando bread or nut bread. These tasty treats are baked 3 times and will stay crispy and delicious for many weeks if held in a sealed container. First, let's talk about the nuts, because this is a nut bread. And I will take you over here and show you this great little Cuisinart that will chop up my nuts. This is not the way Elizabeth would chop the nuts. Elizabeth took 2 knives like this, brought them together, and chopped back and forth, back and forth. A much more time-consuming job. The first ingredient that we're going to have for these cookies is flour. No, not right. That's not right. Okay. We're going to begin by breaking eggs. And I get 4 eggs, and I break them on a flat part of the counter because I don't want to get the eggs shells into the mix. I know 4 eggs sounds like a lot. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, you put your 4 eggs in, and then it's time to beat. Gotta wash my hands off to get the eggs off. And we're ready to beat. And I started on low. And then I come over, and then I get my sugar. I need a cup of sugar. I know sugar looks like it's a dry ingredient, but actually it's a wet ingredient. And you will see what happens. I like the magic that happens when you put in sugar. I need a full cup of sugar, so I'm putting in 1/4 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup, 1/4 of a cup, and then another 1/4 of a cup. And then I turn it on high. The magic has happened. Here you see the eggs mixed with the sugar. And you could see how it forms into forming a ribbon. Now it's time to do your flour. And since these are called nut breads, I use 2 cups of bread flour, and I use 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm sure my mother-in-law did not use all-purpose flour. I did not use bread flour. I'm sure she probably just used all-purpose flour. But I have, and here we go. And look what I have here. This is her cup measure. This is her cup measure. I got it from her, and every time I take it out, I know it's for really liquid measurements, but I plan to use it for a dry measurement. And I remember her when I get this out. Now, here's 1 cup. You don't have to be exact. I know that people say you have to be exact in cooking, but I'm not that exact. And I gotta tell you, it works out pretty well. My husband's happy with my cooking, and my grandchildren are happy with my cooking. So I'm not changing anything. Yeah, I think I need a little more cup. There, that's all-purpose flour. And here comes the bread flour. Isn't this a great cup? I think it's so cute. This isn't going to fit, but we'll do it this way. I know they say that you have to be exact in your measurements when you're baking, but I just don't think you need to be. And my family likes sweets with a little less sugar in them. And all these recipes call for so much sugar. I just think it's way too much. And so I changed my recipe. And I think you can change your recipe if you want to. Do what works for you. That's what I like. There. That's 2 cups. What I also do, which nobody says anything about, is I like to sift with an old-fashioned sifter. Here it comes. But before I can sift everything, I need to put in, oh my gosh, my measurement. Here it is. Okay, here we go. It's 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Here's 1. Here's 2. A half a teaspoon of baking soda. A teaspoon of salt. Boy, is that an important ingredient. Don't ever forget a teaspoon of salt. Salt just makes everything taste better. And I don't know why I put it in, and it's really not even on my recipe, but I put in cornstarch. Can you believe that? I put a little bit of cornstarch in. And now I'm ready to sift with an old-fashioned sifter. I've had this sifter for many years, and I really love how it works. And I just don't think a strainer can do the same thing. Also, a sifter like this brings out memories. You remember when you were a kid and you watched your mom sift. I love that. I love that. Memories are part of cooking because your taste brings back memories. It brings back memories of things you did, where you went. I remember my first time I tasted custard. Oh my gosh, I loved it. And I've never had the custard that tastes the same as it did at that time. But I always keep dreaming that the next custard cat I see will have that custard coming back to me. Okay, there. All right, I have my eggs, my sugar. Don't have my oil. And what I do is I need, let's put this away, get it out of the way, not to confuse things. I have half a cup of oil here. And into the oil, I add my flavoring. Oh my gosh, this calls for almond extract. I use a teaspoon of it. They always tell you to be very careful with almond extract because it is really strong, but I love it. I really love it. And then you have vanilla, and I have a grape vanilla. I've never tried it before, but the lady said it comes from Madagascar, and it's one of the best. And in this, you can put in 2 teaspoons. We all love vanilla. 1, 2, there we go. All right, I have, again, the eggs, the sugar, here comes the oil, and here comes the flavoring. Here we go. It's in, it's in, it's in, it's feeding, it's feeding, it's feeding. It's in. And the first step is done. And we switch out the beaters because now we're getting to the heavy stuff. Now it's time to put in the big beater that's going to mix this dough because it is going to be a thick, thick dough. And there's always a reason for it, and you're going to see the reason. I also need to take my little cup over here. And again, there we go. Now, put it on slow. And it's important that we do this at the same time. A little tricky, but I can do it. I can do it. I've done it before and I can do it again.
Nice and loud.
This is it. Here we go. Here we go. I'm putting in the flour. And while I'm putting in the flour, I'm putting in the namesake, the nuts. It's all going together. Oh my gosh, look at that go. Look at that go. How do you like that? It is a beautiful thing. I'm going to show you what it looks like. See how thick it is? It's super thick. And that's exactly what you want. I'm going to let it go a couple more times, and then I'm going to stop. Can you believe that? I'm back. Now I've taken this mix, and if you look at it, you see that it is really stiff. It is really stiff, but that's the beauty of it. That's why these cookies, you put them in a container and they'll stay good for weeks. I got to tell you, nothing lasts weeks around my house. So I can't tell you for sure, but I think so. Okay, so you put it down, and because this is so sticky, I usually make 2 logs of it. Get it all in. Okay. You need some muscles for this, I know. I don't know how my little mother-in-law, I mean, she was a tiny woman. She had tiny arms. She had tiny feet. I don't know how she did this, but she did. There we go. There. And the last bit. Okay. Then you dip your hands. This is what she did that was so cute. She dipped her hands in oil. And then look what happens when you dip your hands in oil. Magically, this super sticky dough doesn't stick. See how it works out? And you're wanting to build, as she puts it in her recipe, 2 logs. So I just keep squishing it around using my oiled up hands. By the way, I know you love recipes that call for 5 ingredients. I hate to tell you, I think this has 25 ingredients, but you'll love it. You'll love it. It'll be worth every single ingredient. And most of them you have in your kitchen. I'm not sending you to the grocery store with any items. Well, maybe one item. It was new to me. A daughter of mine mentioned cardamom. You use cardamom? I really love it. And someone came over and said, "What did you put in that apple pie? There was a new spice. It was cardamom." Okay, I need to wash my hands. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. First, I'm going to start with sugar. Oh, by the way, I preheated the oven to 350. Sugar. Just sprinkle. Again, just sprinkle. Look at this, you're not going to believe it. Hawaiian pink salt. I love it. I love it. It's a little hard to grind, but it's worth it. Can you believe now? Cinnamon. Love cinnamon. My family is a cinnamon lover. So be generous. 5 spice cinnamon. Be generous again. Now, to really blow your mind, cardamom. And these babies, these 2 logs are ready for the oven. We will meet them in a few minutes. This is what we've been waiting for. Wait till you see these beauties. Look at them, look at them. They rose in the oven and brought out all their great goodness. And no, we're not done. I'm going to cut these very thin. And that's going to make the cookie able to hold a ton of cinnamon. And of course, the cardamom. So here we go. I start on a slant and cut this way. Oh, by the way, this is a bread knife. This is from my mom. I was always worried about using it because I wanted to save it. But you know, I'm using it and it works great. So I go through the loaf like this, slicing as thin as I can. Some crumbles will come off, but those are for the cook to eat. Yeah, I need another tray. And then these are like biscotti. They're twice baked. So then I carefully maneuver them onto another pan. I'll cut a few more of these. They're actually crumbling apart. They're going to be so great. A little more salt. This salt is kind of hard to handle sometimes, but it works. Cardamom, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Chinese 5-spice cinnamon, sprinkle. Sugar, sprinkle, sprinkle, and then it goes back in the oven. Yes, you put it back in the oven and turn the oven off. You don't want them to bake anymore. You just want them to sit in the oven and crisp up. And this afternoon for tea, you sit down with a samovar with your family. And that's what they did in the Ukraine. They sat around after a meal with their samovar and they had their nut bread, their tea. It's a great family dinner. Thank you so much. Goodbye from Karolyn with the K's Kitchen.